While the tenets of the martial arts have literally been lauded for centuries, detractors question the effectiveness of the training as it relates to the real world. Will the techniques stand up when there are no holds barred?
Self-defense like skydiving, okay? Go up in that plane, okay? For damn sure, one, your instructor better have jumped out of that plane quite a few times, right? Two, know what he's talking about. Three, know how to train you, right? And four, your parachute better work, okay? Otherwise, right? So why is self-defense any different? It's no different.
There's movements, a different series that you learn with slapping movements. Slap. Again, breaking. If it doesn't work, and if you're into self-defense, not tradition, not culture, if you really want self-defense, then question what works, what doesn't work.
I was a bodyguard, personal bodyguard for 20 years with bands like Linda Ronstadt, James Taylor, Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, on it goes. And I realized right at the beginning that my art has to involve a certain practical side to it. And what I realized with a lot of the traditional arts is that a lot of it is theoretical. It has its own purposes within the dojo, but the street and what happens in this environment is a very, very different sort of environment, a different scenario.
Running is the best self-defense, but at the same time, what are you going to do if your back, you know, is up against that wall and you're cornered and you're trying to talk you out of it, trying to get away, you can't get away, then what do you got to do? You got to go through that guy.
I learned a lot of things the hard way because in my neighborhood I had one big plus and one big minus. The big plus was, whatever you learn, you get to use it. The minus was, whatever you learned, you had to use it. And if it didn't work, you found out very quickly.
I've been in more street fights than most, and each time I've never defended myself like I would do in a form. You're not going to be in a perfect stance, and you're not going to have that perfect kick.
And action! On the filming, you know, you can create looks like a body, you know, and beautiful, you know, action on the street fight very fast, you know, and then you don't have time to do that.
I tell my students, if you go out in the street and you're out there and you have to protect your family, sidekick or spin back into somebody's solar plexus, it's a waste of time. The first thing I'm going to do is sidekick your knees. I'm going to try and break your legs out. And the second thing I'm probably going to do is try to take your eyes out by sticking my fingers in your eye.
The problem with self-defense is that merely the name of it, self-defense, almost sounds as though I have to wait for you to punch. I'm going to perform a nice block and then I'm going to counterattack. If I thought in the next 2 or 3 seconds that you're going to try and hit me, I'm going to hit you first. If the average person could see how good a lot of these street fighters are, they have 1 or 2 techniques, probably, that they've done all their lives, that have worked for them or not. But they're so damn good at it. And if you get hit by that 1 or 2 wonderful techniques, forget about it. You're not going to block, you're not going to come back. I don't care what anybody said, I've seen it too much.
If you got the heart to fight, a lot of times you will win. I know a lot of people are good martial artists, but they don't have the heart.
Really measure yourself, know your enemy, know yourself, and really understand what you can do or you cannot do.
The problem with the application of these techniques is that we often do the theoretical practice of them. We do forms, but we don't actually apply the practice in battle. When we don't apply the practice in battle, it's all theoretical. So until you actually find combative situations from different angles, things that would people bringing you to the ground, you're not going to have success, and that takes a lot of time to take it from innate knowledge into practical knowledge.
In my Kung Fu training, you know, a lot of people tend to say that Kung Fu has is good, but it's too soft. But one thing about Kung Fu is that when you use it as far as self-defense, you can't necessarily always come hard. You have to go with the punch or go with the block and then strike. You know, now with Wushu, a lot of people tend to say, well, a lot of high kicks and a lot of fast circular moves and things, it might not have any practical applications, but even in my training, like even if you see me do a no-hand cartwheel, I still can, you know, strike at a person. because it's all about your visual perception of where the attacker is or where your opponent is, and you just focus on that and strike. All of these are blocks, strikes, you know, punches, grabs, different turns and pulling. So, you know, I've had a lot of pressure on me competing on the national circuit where they say my wushu has a lot of gymnastics in it. But then if you can use it where you can defend yourself, then it has every application rather than a regular reverse punch or a back kick or a front kick. So a lot of times people ask me, does it work? And I always say, well, attack.
To many, the softer arts such as Aikido may seem non-functional as a self-defense, but when employed by a skilled practitioner, the results can effectively disarm an enemy. Strikes, wrist locks, and chokes complement the idea of using an opponent's own power against himself.